Well, this is our design room. So every year our designer creates about 100 new patterns to take with us to textile shows to show to prospective customers. So he spends roughly half his time working on our new patterns, and the other half of his time is spent working on bespoke designs for customers. Some customers request their own patterns. They'll send us things that they'd like us to match. So we've been sent shoes or plastic bags or wallpaper, and we've been asked, can you possibly recreate this in Harris Tweed? And we'll try our best to do it. What it depends most on is whether we have the colours available to do it. So behind me here is all our yarn colours that we've produced since we reopened. To create them, he has a palette of roughly 50 dyings of wool that he can use to create these colours. So every colour behind me is a blend of at least 2, sometimes up to 8 different colours. He mixes them to his own recipe, records the recipe, and it's just like baking. He has a recipe for every yarn colour that we have, and then they are mixed according to his design to create our patterns. So after the wool has been measured in the correct amounts, it's passed through for the mechanical mixing. So at the beginning of that process you can still see all the individual colours really clearly, and it starts to get its first mix.
Wish I was a slave to an age-old trade, like riding around on a rail.
I first started about 22 years ago. The actual weaving process, the pedalling, the process is the simple part. That's the straightforward part. It's the actual setting up and ensuring that every one of the warp ends, as we call the individual threads here, is threaded correctly through the right board and it's in the right order along. That takes up a great deal of the focus when you're actually starting up on a new tweed. Once you're actually up and running, that's the easy part. The easy part is just to pedal away. The loom itself, it looks like a big clunky piece, but actually a lot of the pieces on it are very, very fine tolerance and they need to be looked after very carefully. Once they go out a couple of thou, they need some serious attention or things can start to go wrong very, very quickly. And they do often. I've had some unusual colours this year. I don't know what market they've been for. I've had some bright saffron. Also had as pink can possibly be as well. Personally, I like the old school. I like the darker, more earthy colours that basically reflect the land, the sea, the heather, and just the rough Hebridean colours. I think they're quite a good match for the Hebridean psyche. From beginning to end, the amount of time, effort, loyalty as well that's put into this is something you won't find in any other manufactured cloth.
So the first thing that happens when the tweeds are returned to us from the weavers, they're inspected to make sure that they've woven them correctly, they're matched against the original designer's pattern. Then they're inspected by our darners, because over the course of a full tweed we expect there to be some small flaws. Wool's a natural fibre, so there'll be the occasional breakage in yarn. It all gets repaired by hand here before it gets washed. It's then dried and cropped, which just means the surface of it is shaven to remove any debris left over. It's then on to another inspection. The substances which were in the wool when we bought it are removed, because quite often you'll find bits of straw or barley eyes in the wool, and it's impossible to remove these things until the cloth has been woven. After that, the customer's free to specify how they'd like the cloth to be finished, because we offer different finishing techniques. We'll do shower proofing or Teflon coating or flame retardant coating, so it's totally up to the customer how they would want it finished. The final stage then is for the Harris Tweed Authority to inspect it, to make sure it is Harris Tweed. To be awarded the orb stamp, every length of tweed that we have helped to produce is inspected.
Our company, Harris Tweed Hebrides, was born with the hope of breathing new life into our island's cloth. We wanted to see it being used and worn all over the world again. We knew that to do this, we'd need to combine existing wisdom and experience with fresh new ideas on designs and finishings. We have the clomore, the big cloth, the champagne of fabrics. Whatever you want to call it, we have our Harris Tweed, and we want everyone in the world to love it as much as we do.
I am on my way, I am on my way, I am on my way back to where I started.
This is very unique in the fact that it's very contained. It has to be in the Hebrides, it has to be woven from obviously virgin Scottish wool and then finished here in the Hebrides as well. So even if you were to cross to the Isle of Skye, for example, it's not Harris Tweed.